Drinkers think they're drinking to escape, but what they're really doing is trying to get over a disease they don't know they have. Me, it's about the guy who drove to the liquor store at 1:45 so he could drink alone. It's about all these habits. It's about why my reaction was different.
Nobody had ever dealt with that.
Dad, he's a man filled with so much laughter and wit. It's impossible to imagine that he was caught in a kind of riptide. So much alcohol.
Matthew Perry shares an eye-opening account of being one of Hollywood's biggest stars who waged a behind-the-scenes battle with substance abuse.
Matthew Perry is 53 years old, but he knows most of us will always remember when we first saw him.
Okay, who wants light cheese and who wants dark cheese?
Chandler Bing, played by an actor who was effortlessly so fast, an original. And now it seems impossible that all those years ago when we were laughing, we never knew that the young star was fighting for his life in a riptide of addiction. It was pulling him to hell and back over and over again, and he was trying to keep it a secret from everyone.
The first time you had a drink, you write about.
Yeah.
You were 14 in the backyard, somewhere in Ontario, right?
Ottawa.
You were with a couple of buddies. What do you remember from that night?
I mean, that was pretty heavy. I was with my best friends, the Murray brothers, and we decided, we didn't know what we were doing, you know, and they got some beers, and I got a bottle of wine called Anwar's Baby Duck, and I drank the entire bottle and lay in the ground and looked at the skies and just felt better than I ever had in my entire life. And I thought to myself, this is probably what normal people feel like all the time.
We've all learned it's not ours to ask someone in recovery how long they've been sober. He says it's why he's written the harrowing details of his journey through alcohol, all those drugs, and the fight to break free.
I gave it up for a long period of time. You know, the insanity of having another drink a couple of years later and starting this whole thing all over again was insane. I was insane. I am insane. But interestingly enough, only in this area. Like, I'm a pretty logical fella in every area but this one.
Yeah.
And I know logistically exactly what's going to happen, and I still do it.
6,000 AA meetings, therapy 30 years, 15 rehabs,
Yeah.
maybe at least. Half of your life in treatment or in sober living houses. You had no trouble with the lines, you had no trouble with the timing, you had no trouble showing up every day?
Early on, yes. And I made a rule that I would never drink or take anything at work. So I would never do that, but I would show up blindly hungover. I finally felt at home for the very first time. As soon as I drank alcohol, I just loved it. And I said to myself, basically, if this doesn't kill me, I'm doing this again. Normal people have a drink and they feel a little, woozy, and then they, go home and go to work. I have a drink, and for the first time in 3 weeks, the life seems to make sense. And why would you not want to drink if that happened to you all the time?
At one point along this path, his friends reach out.
What doesn't Matthew know?
That he's all right.
We didn't know. We weren't equipped. We weren't to deal with it. Nobody had ever dealt with that. And, the idea of even losing him.
Yeah, imagine how scary a moment that was. And I said, how? I thought I was hiding it so well. And she said, we can smell it. But I wasn't in a position to stop.
So you realized in that moment that other people seem to be responding to booze this way, and I'm responding in a different way.
It's a progressive disease, so it gets worse and worse as you get older. As I was like 18, 19, 20, then it really started to kick in. I was drinking every night. It was a secret. I would drink with my pals. I would race to a liquor store at 1:45 so I could have alcohol at my house and drink more than I did with my friends. And it just became this roller coaster ride that I didn't understand.
Matthew Perry clearly changing season to season, signaling something is wrong. He writes this in the book.
You can track the trajectory of my addiction if you gauge my weight from season to season. When I'm carrying weight, it's alcohol. When I'm skinny, it's pills. Nancy Reagan had this slogan that said, just say no.
Just say no, yeah.
And you're like, well, idiot. If I could just say no, I wouldn't have to go to 9,000 AA meetings. I'd just be at home saying no all the time. That was the truth for my family, too, and me. In nature, when a penguin is injured, the other penguins group around it and prop it up until it's better. I always have this image of this big ballroom, like this room like this big ballroom, and my mother walking in and taking all sort of the glory because she was beautiful and people just knew her, and I was like 5 feet behind her, and all I wanted was for her to turn around and, you know, focus on me and like be with me. You took me, and I want your company. I want you to help me. I'm a kid. And what I've realized as an older guy, I still want the unavailable, the person who's not turning around. I still want that person to turn around and notice me. She didn't do anything wrong. She was just doing her job. But that's something that, you know, from a young age, it hurt me.
Matthew Perry had committed to a full 90 days in rehab.
Do you give any kind of advice or spirit or anything about what you did today?
You know, the truth is it's an ongoing process. You know, you never fully recover from this thing. So, you know, it's kind of a daily spiritual condition that you need to live your life with. For me, there was no ifs, ands, or buts. There was no question. It's you're either going to, you know, die early from this disease, or you're going to go and try to learn as much as you can about it and try to live a happy life.
He is being driven from treatment every morning to the set of Friends.
I went to treatment, and that was my first treatment center. But I was only there for 28 days, and there's no way you can learn what you need to learn in 28 days.
No.
So, you know, the rest of my life has been battling this disease. You know, I've been mostly sober since 2001, but I've had a tremendous amount of slips.
What does it mean to feel okay?
It means that I've developed some safety nets around this. You know, for some reason, it's obviously because I was on Friends, more people will listen to me. So I've got to take advantage of that. I've got to help as many people as I can. Writing the book, it was like cleansing. It was like a wonderful experience. I just wrote all these terrible things. I got them down on the page. One of the things that I learned was that the highs and lows for me were unbelievable, and I'm really grateful for all the good things that happened to me. But when I went to the first treatment center, I had a meeting with a doctor, and he explained that it was a disease, and I had no idea, and that took so much of it. Made me feel better because it wasn't really my fault. I had this disease, I had to fight it, and I've been fighting it for so long that that's the evidence that things are going well. Just a brief lesson in alcoholism for you guys that don't know. In 1956, I think the American Medical Association said it was a disease. It's a two-pronged disease. Two things happen to me and 10 million other people in the United States. It's an obsession of your mind. So what that means is you think of a martini, and then slowly but surely, it's the only thing you can think about. You can't think about anything else. I gotta get a martini. I know I'm supposed to be over here working, but I gotta get another martini. Martini. And then once you take that martini, you break the membrane of sobriety. And once you do that, the obsession is gone, but the allergy of your body, which is the second prong of the disease, takes over and says, oh, now we're drinking. I'm gonna make you drink as much as you did last time and more. It's progressive, so I'm gonna make you drink more than you did last time.
You say, addiction, the big terrible thing, is far too powerful for anyone to defeat alone. But together, one day at a time, we can beat it down.
your disease is just outside, just doing one-arm push-ups, just waiting for you, waiting to get you alone. Because alone, you lose to the disease. And now I finally feel okay.
In the years ahead, it will not be a straight road to sobriety. That message that you have to keep reaching out, you have to keep trying.
For a start, I've surrendered, but to the winning side, not the losing. I'm no longer mired in an impossible battle with drugs and alcohol, and helping others had become the answer for me. You know, the thing that always makes me cry, and I hope I don't cry here, is that it's not fair. It's not fair. That I had to go through this disease while the other 5 didn't. They got everything that I got. But I had to fight this thing, and still have to fight this thing. So just to end this on a good note, there are people that will help you, and get their help. It doesn't go away. It never goes away.
There's a question he saw me ask once before of someone else in recovery. He thinks it's interesting, so I ask him too. How will we know when you're in trouble, when you're not okay?
If I say, I'm just going to chill alone at home tonight. And part 2, the other thing, is if I ever say I'm cured. It took over decades of my life, and I pray to you, if you worry that you're having this problem, or you know somebody that is, raise your hand, find somebody who's smarter than you about this, and talk to them, and be honest about it, because the secrets are what kill us.
I'm anything but a dropper.
Ross!